The upcoming bout between Keyshawn Davis and Edwin de Los Santos is quickly becoming one of the most heated matchups in boxing, and not just because of the fight itself. With only a few weeks left until they face off on June 7th at the Scope Arena. In Norfolk, Virginia, tensions are running high, especially for Davis, who has grown visibly frustrated by de Los Santos's constant criticism. Davis, who is undefeated and currently holds the WBO lightweight title, had personally chosen de Los Santos as his next opponent. It seems Davis expected a level of respect from the challenger, but instead, he's been met with relentless trash talk. De Los Santos hasn't minced words, openly questioning Davis's skills, challenging the legitimacy of his resume, and calling out what he sees as a carefully curated career. For Davis, these jabs have done more than get under his skin. They've, struck a nerve, prompting him to admit that he's genuinely pissed off. De Los Santos isn't just throwing around baseless insults, at least not in his eyes. He believes he's being honest about what many fans and fighters already whisper behind closed doors. He's painted Davis as a fighter who's been overly protected, a champion who hasn't truly tested himself against the best. According to him, Davis's record is more a result of smart matchmaking than raw talent. And while Davis has tried to shrug off those claims in public, his reactions tell a different story. He's accused de Los Santos of just talking to hype the fight, but that excuse isn't doing much to mask his irritation. Davis went as far as saying that de Los Santos's comments don't even make sense, and that there's no way someone could genuinely believe a 13-year-old world champion has no boxing ability. But the more he insists, the more it seems de Los Santos's words have hit a sore spot, and it's clear that this war of words has made things personal. De Los Santos has taken his critiques even further by calling Davis soft after reviewing footage of his past fights. He's claimed that Davis reacts poorly when hit, implying that he's not built for real pressure inside the ring. He went so far as to say, if he stops there, he dies, hinting at what he believes will happen if Davis tries to trade punches with him instead of running or playing it safe. Davis, for his part, claims that every opponent he's faced has seen a different version of him, that no one can predict what version of Keyshawn Davis will show up in the ring. But for all his confidence, there's a growing perception among boxing fans that he's more likely to play defense than stand and fight, especially against someone with de Los Santos's punching power. The assumption is that Davis will look to outbox, clinch, and survive rather than dominate. Adding to the controversy, Davis has been inconsistent in his comments, even making questionable claims about his past opponents. For instance, he said, he knocked out Denis Berinchyk, a fighter who fights from the southpaw stance. But anyone familiar with Berincyk's career knows he's an orthodox fighter by nature, despite occasionally switching stances. Whether Davis was trying to defend his preparation or just got caught up in the moment, it didn't help his case. These kinds of comments have made critics question whether Davis is beginning to believe his own hype a little too much, or if he's just scrambling to protect a reputation that de Los Santos is steadily chipping away at. It all paints a picture of a fighter who's beginning to feel the weight of the spotlight and the pressure that comes with being called the next big thing. Then there's the question of Davis's weight class. Right now, he's fighting at lightweight, but some fans believe he's cutting too much weight and should really be competing at 154 pounds. That would put him in the ring with much bigger and more dangerous fighters, like Virgil Ortiz or Sebastian Fundora. The idea that Davis is staying in a lighter division to avoid the real heavy hitters adds another layer to the criticism he's facing. If he really wants to prove himself as a top-tier fighter, the argument goes, he should be willing to face anyone at any weight, not just opponents he has a size and style advantage over. De Los Santos has raised this point indirectly by questioning how good Davis would be without that size advantage, and fans are starting to wonder the same thing. As fight night approaches, this isn't just about defending a belt. It's about defending a reputation that's on shaky ground, and Davis is going to have to do a lot more than talk to silence the growing wave of doubt. As the anticipation for June 7th builds, the storyline isn't just about a championship defense, it's about legitimacy. Keyshawn Davis finds himself in a rare position for a rising star, defending not only his belt, but his credibility. While his team has been careful in guiding his career and selecting opponents, boxing fans aren't easily fooled. They've watched fighters come up the ranks with padded records before, only to fall apart when matched with someone who refuses to follow the script. That's what makes Edwin de Los Santos such a dangerous opponent. He doesn't seem interested in playing the role of a stepping stone. Instead, he's walking into this fight with a chip on his shoulder, determined to expose what he believes is a facade. And whether he wins or loses, his trash talk has already succeeded in shifting the narrative. He's cast a shadow of doubt over Davis's rise, one that won't disappear unless Keyshawn delivers a definitive performance. There's also a deeper tension here about respect, both in the ring and out of it. Davis expected de Los Santos to acknowledge his status as a champion, perhaps even thank him for the opportunity. But de Los Santos isn't playing by those rules. He sees Davis as just another fighter, one who hasn't proven enough to demand reverence. This defiance has clearly unsettled Davis, who has shown flashes of irritation and defensiveness in interviews. That emotional reaction could become a factor once the bell rings. Fighters who carry personal anger into the ring often stray from their game plans, and if Davis lets de Los Santos get under his skin mid-fight, it could spell disaster. The psychological warfare is already underway, and so far, de Los Santos appears to be winning that battle without even throwing a punch. What makes this rivalry even more compelling is how differently each fighter approaches the game. Davis is calculated, technical, and usually fights to minimize risk. He uses his speed, timing, and footwork to control the pace and limit his opponent's chances. In contrast, de Los Santos thrives on chaos. He's a knockout artist with a reputation for aggression, and he doesn't mind taking a few hits if it means landing one that changes the fight. This clash of styles isn't just intriguing, it's combustible. If Davis plays it safe, he risks getting booed out of the building and further alienating fans who are already skeptical of his matchmaking. But if he chooses to stand and fight, he opens himself up to the kind of danger he's carefully avoided throughout his young career. Meanwhile, the stakes for de Los Santos couldn't be higher. A win would catapult him into stardom, validating everything he's been saying in the build-up. It would also flip the script on Davis's entire career. Suddenly, the fighter once seen as a sure thing would become a cautionary tale about what happens when hype outruns substance. That's why de Los Santos is so relentless in his verbal jabs. He knows he's not just fighting Davis. He's fighting an image, a narrative, and a promotional machine that's been trying to crown Keyshawn as the next face of boxing. And if he can dismantle all that in one night, he knows the world will be watching and listening differently the next morning. Still, Davis has the chance to change the story. If he can handle the pressure, silence the criticism, and dominate de Los Santos in the ring, it will go a long way in restoring faith in his potential. But he can't just win, he has to impress. He has to fight like a champion, not like someone trying to protect a shiny record. Fans want to see heart, risk, and a willingness to go through fire to prove greatness. Anything less, and the whispers will only grow louder. This fight has become more than a title defense. It's a referendum on Keyshawn Davis's future in boxing, and one way or another, June 7 is going to give us some answers.